They forgot about you, pimpin', they forgot about you. They forgot about you, pimpin', they forgot about you. They forgot about you, pimpin', they forgot about you. You need to speak because the streets done heard a lot about you. They forgot about you, pimpin', they forgot about you. They forgot about you, pimpin', they forgot about you. They forgot about you, pimpin', they forgot about you. You need to speak because these streets done heard a lot about you.
What's up? It's your homeboy Maal The Pimp, aka MTP, and welcome to another special edition of the Pimpoholic TV podcast. Man, listen, let me tell you this. I keep telling y'all I keep special guests coming through this motherfucker every time. You dig what I'm saying? I got a real special guest this time. I'm talking about, how can I explain this? How can I introduce this? An entertainment industry music mogul, co-founder, co-CEO of Rocafella Records, one of the most interesting and controversial CEOs in the game, from Rocafella to Rocawear clothing to independent movies to just taking over the fashion design and all that type of stuff right there. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about we got a real mogul in the building. Dame Dash. Welcome to Pimpoholic TV. How you doing, my dog?
I'm good. How you doing?
Appreciate you coming through our city, Chattanooga, Tennessee, man. Welcome to the city, man.
Thanks for having us. We having the ball.
Before we get into anything, man, what's the first vibe you got when you touch down in Chattanooga, bro?
Everything is chill, you know. Pretty artsy, you know.
Pretty artsy.
Yeah, it was almost like Williamsburgish with trains, you know.
Gotcha.
Cool vibe.
Cool.
Yeah.
So let's
people cool.
I'm gonna bounce around from different topics and different subjects or whatever. So like most people who come from the urban aspect and entertainment game, like we start out in the streets hustling and doing whatever dirt we do, then we transition to the music industry or whatever. So while you was in the streets, out of everything that you could have transitioned to, what made you choose the music industry out of everything?
Well, I had a plug there. So my cousin Darian's stepfather was the president of Casablanca Records, and one of his interns went to be an A&R at Atlantic. So my cousin was always trying to get me to be I was in the street to, pivot toward doing the music with him. And I guess when that paid in full thing happened, because I was there or I was around, it made me completely want to pivot and do something that I thought, where I could make drug dealing money without having to do any kind of corporate work. You know what I mean? So I was looking for a fun way to make bread legally.
Yes.
Man.
So we got a lot of independent artists who start out doing the independent thing, selling multiple units, which is what y'all did. When did you know, okay, we selling multiple units on our own, we're doing this on our own? When did it click in your head to, well, okay, we're doing this independent, we need to cross over to the major? What was the trigger that set that off right there?
Well, at the time we were shopping to the majors and everyone was just simply saying no. Like Jay-Z, as far as me shopping for a deal, he was like 0-20. Everybody thought he was too old. He rapped fast. They didn't like the way he dressed. And we just decided to do it ourselves. So once we did it ourselves, then of course, and we were doing all right, that's when they started to approach us.
Right.
So that's why, I don't like to approach things where I have to ask. I like to, give people samples, get them open, and then I could raise the prices on them, and they got to come to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah.
Let me ask you this right here. This is a question off the top of my head based on what you just said. You got a lot of independent artists, right, who are, for instance, doing their thing independent, so where you're selling X amount of, I'm going back to the CD days before the streaming and all this shit came into the picture.
Well, what people got to understand is it's not really about the records you sell, it's about your show. So
your show?
Yeah. So if you stay on your block and think the rest of the world's going to get it, that's not going to happen. So you got to get on a bus or a van and you got to drive or go into each market that you're not from and spread the word yourself. It's like campaigning. So, I mean, it's cool because of streaming and this, that, and the third. But if you really look at it, especially because of the way you get robbed from streaming and how you don't know what your BTS CPS. Yeah, BPS is, you know, your money comes from selling your merch and, you know, being on the road. So you ever see an artist get a hit record and all of a sudden he got jury and all that? Just back, you know, all of a sudden he's fresh, he's a different person. That's not from a record sale. That's because you're getting paid to do your show. So if you just sitting on your block and expect to get going, and that's not, it ain't gonna work for you that way. You know, you got to hit the road. You got to do your merch. You know, you got to do that. If you don't know how to be a good promoter, then you're gonna be dependent on somebody else promoting for you.
Right.
But if you get 100 people into a venue on your own, then you're pretty much on your way. The first 100 is the hardest, but it's not about so much how good you sound in the studio. It's about how well you can execute the record on a stage. And what a lot of artists do is they underestimate how important your show is. So no one
stage presence.
Yeah, no one rehearses. Everybody raps. They keep their vocals in the track, rapping over a track. All that's a big no-no. I mean, you can't get paid to do that at like a festival where there's 50,000 people. Nobody wants to pay to see you do karaoke just because you're famous. They want to see how skilled you are. If you could really, your breath control, if you could really articulate those raps, if you could move. So some people just, you know, they're as good as their record and they'll get paid as long as, you know, it's popping. But if you go into Coachella performing over a track, once you don't have a hit record no more, then you're not going to get paid no more.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope insight. Let me ask you this.
A lot of people get into businesses and they don't know exactly how they're supposed to make money from the business. They just know people make money and get famous from it, but they don't hammer down on where the money really comes from. What's the business model? You know what I mean? So I think before you get into any business, especially if you're going to devote your whole life to it, it would be smart to know how you make your money. So again, that's why I pivot and I'm going to talk about America New. You know, the reason why I have my own network was because, number one, I never know how much someone's making off of me. And then when someone's paying me to do something, then I got to do what they tell me to do. But number two, on other platforms, you know, basically, again, you get paid based on your CPM.
Right.
And that's clicks per million, but now, you know, that means clicks per 1,000 really. And you get paid based on that. So let's say your rate is $55 or $22. For sure, they taking 21 and you only getting cents on pennies on the dollar. And if that was a physical labor and someone was making money off your physical labor, paying you whatever they want to, and they're taking 99% of the money, that would be considered slavery.
Slavery.
So it's digital slavery. And, you know, how do you keep a slave a slave? Make sure they don't know they're a slave. Then they don't get mad. But there's no way in the world you could go platinum in any way where 1 million people click on or do anything and you only make $7,000. That's $6,000. That's craziness. So I had to build my own platform, go get with an ad agency, and, you know, that built their own portal that goes directly to the ads. So if the ads is, let's say, Pablo, where they growing it, and we keep going through a middleman like YouTube or Tubi or whatever, I went past them and I went straight to Pablo. So I get the full benefit of the CPM. And with my co-creators, I'm not going to just pay you and not tell you how much I made. There's a dashboard and I'm giving 60-40, the artist. But, you know, for me, it's just really a platform where I could be creative. So if you look at America New, the network, you'll see that I directed damn near everything there, you know, and a lot of it is based on my point of views on education, curriculum, on children's with Raquel, with Applefish. We got docuseries, movies, television shows, you know, we got everything they got. But, you know, we're making programming that I don't call it programming because that's really what things that are done and put in your face repetitively is programming you. What we're doing is deprogramming you and making you focus on not the distraction, but on what will make you better. you know. So a lot of people look at entertainment as a form of escape to a life they hate. So when you look to get entertained by me, I'm going to show you, while through entertaining you, I'm going to teach you how to make your life better so you don't hate your life so much.
Deep. Let me ask you this. Once you left the streets and signed the major deal, partnership, joint venture, whatever you want to call that, and you got, I guess, what we call the real money.
It wasn't real money to me. We was getting more money in the street. That's what I'm saying. That's why you had to do other stuff.
Not real money to you, but the average motherfucker in the street, we just got this deal. This real money. This money we couldn't see on our own right there.
What I'm saying is you can make more money hustling if you're a good hustler than the way you get robbed in the music business. So $1 million, like, again, the first deal that Lyor offered us was $1 million. We laughed at him like, we blow $1 million regularly. You know, that ain't no money. You know what I'm saying? Like, what we supposed to do with that? You know what I mean? Like, we laughed at him.
Right.
We was getting money. So, again, getting with the majors doesn't mean you getting real money. You get real money from doing your show. Like, you ain't gonna never see a royalty when you get it. Because what happens with a label, they give you a loan. And you don't get, until you pay back that loan.
Recoup.
Right. You don't clear any bread. And what happens as soon as you make that money back, they lend you some more. So
they keep you in the hole.
They always keep you in the hole, just enough that you need them.
With interest.
100%. And 9 times out of 10, you see certain moguls talking about they sold their artist masters and all that shit. You know, for me, it's like, just logically speaking, if I lent you some money to make your record, once you pay me back, it's your record.
We good. We
so
good.
That's just robbing people once they pay you back. So I never did that with my artists.
Right. You threw me off with that. Let me ask you this though. If you're an independent artist and you're doing your thing in the streets, you know, so where I'm selling X amount of units and I'm going up. And my example would this will be what, say, years ago with Cash Money. They were selling 100,000 units independently. So I got this already. I'm making millions of dollars off of music. So if a major come into the picture, I'm finna tell you what I want. If you don't do it, then fuck y'all. I'm finna tell you what I want.
It becomes what they got, and again, I don't like talking their business, but what I understood, they had a distribution deal. Right, a
P&D deal.
Yeah, so you could do that. I mean, you could get with a label, but there's so many ways that you can get. So I wouldn't say I wouldn't work with corporate, but they got to work for me. So I've distributed Currency Records through Def Jam and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But it was distribution, just that. You still got to own the master and you pay them. But if they'll crack to own you, you know, and if you say no, then they'll take what you give them. But you just have a lot of like the manipulation of our perception is a bluff. That's why I be calling a bluff all the time, because they
so damn do. You so damn do.
They always act like they tougher than they are, smarter than they are, and I be like, or they could put me out of business or all that. I haven't seen it happen. I'm here, and you look at that network. That's all me. That ain't no investor. That's just years of hard work and skill, and me becoming an artist and doing it in a way where I can be free and work with whoever I want to, and look who I choose to move with. My entourage is not an entourage, that's my family. And everybody that's with me, their dreams are coming true. So my son is with his mother and his father, that's his dream. You know, Rocky wants to be have books and perform them and sell them to kids in school while she's with her children or her son and her husband. That's her dream. I want a television network. That's my dream. Nicolette wants to be an artist. She performing. That's her dream. I only surround myself with people with dreams, because all they're going to do if they don't have a dream is talk about shit that's going to distract me and things that have nothing to do with my dream. You feel me?
Yeah.
And when you dreaming, that's the most important thing, is making and realizing your dream, because if you dreaming big enough, it'll take care of your family. And then you could relax and listen to people that don't have shit to do with what you're doing, but they become entertainment. But,
right.
you know, I always want to roll with my dream team. You know what I mean? Like, if you ain't got no dream, I don't want to be around you. And, you know, all's going to happen is, number one, you're going to be waiting for me to fail or just waiting for me to do anything because you ain't doing shit. And when you talk to me, either you're going to try to make what I'm doing sound like it can't work because you too scared to do it, or you're going to distract me intentionally from doing it because you feel bad that you're not. It might be a real, and then when you make it, the person closest to you talking and distracting you is the one that hates you the most, and that's the one that's going to line you up and try to rob you. And that's an algorithm. That's a human trait. It ain't like a personal thing. It's just how humans move. Some people, to me, if you don't have a dream or a purpose, you dead inside. And you getting up depressed because you have nothing to live for, which is an existence that I would never understand or would not even contemplate. Or you're going to be driven by a dream, get up happy and fight for that. And when, you know, things happen, as long as your dream is what you fighting for, you happy. You know, dreamless people are miserable. Right. And they teach you not to dream very early in life. They teach you to dream about what would be, you know, what controls you. Dream about having a job and retiring and going on vacation when they tell you and working 5 days.
He said when they tell you.
Yeah, because I don't go on. I hate when they tell me to go on vacation. How is it vacation if everybody you around when you work is off at the exact same time as you, and wherever you go they at? That ain't no vacation. You know what I'm saying? And the prices are super high. Holidays to me it's for suckers. Everything doubles. Right. Everything doubles. Hotel rooms, flights, all that. Everything doubles. You feel me? So it's like, why would I go on vacation? Or you gonna tell me that I'm only supposed to celebrate being independent once a year, where I get a day off not being independent? Independence Day, I'm supposed to have Independence Light. I'm supposed to sit at the table with my family once a year. You know what I'm saying? Thanksgiving or during holidays. Nah, I don't believe nothing they tell me, or, you know, any program that doesn't make the majority or 99% of us happy. The program is always to control the 99%, but the 1% don't live by that rhythm.
It's OG game. I love how you go against the rain, bro. I love that shit.
Now they going against the grain. We just being tricked.
You're right. But you want the few to speak against the grain, so it looks like you going against the grain. That's
yeah, because niggas be soft.
Yeah.
They be scared of them, and they ain't even that tough. They scared of bluffing. All you got to do is do the research, pause, look under the hood. You know, think like a boss and not a soldier, and you'll be a boss. But if you think like a soldier, you're going to be told what to do. If you wait for someone to give you the plan, then you're going to just be doing just that, and it might not be the right plan. I ain't going to never have somebody send me to do something that they not doing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm never going to send somebody to do something that I wouldn't do.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let me ask you this. When you finally crossed over from the streets into corporate, when you first got what we consider the streets, real money, what was the first thing you bought that you know now was a waste?
See, the good part about what I was doing was anything that we bought was attributed to the lifestyle that we were selling. So it was always marketing. Okay. So it was, I can't really, you know, wasn't nothing to waste because we was getting money too young. All right. You getting like most people don't sell companies till they're 50. You know, we was doing that in our 20s. So it ain't, to me, like, I'm looking at kids 20 now and I'm like, shit, I was so far ahead of the game. It ain't no mistakes I could have made. I'm here. I didn't go to jail. I didn't die. Money don't mean nothing. You feel me? As long as I'm still here, there's no mistakes. Maybe the only mistakes I might have made was giving money to people that don't appreciate it, spending money on motherfuckers that ain't working for themselves, you know, and that get entitled, keeping people around you and being fair with them. And more than likely, if they're in the position you're in, they wouldn't be fair with you.
I get that. I definitely get that shit. I definitely get that. Yeah, I definitely get that.
You know, but as far as spending money, to me, it wasn't never enough. It's still not enough to look at. That shit's meant to be spent. I ain't holding no money, man. That shit's for suckers. I ain't scared, man. I'm going to keep gambling. I'm going to keep betting it all till I can look at it. And I can only look at like $1 billion.
All right,
I can
now
look at 100 though. I ain't gonna lie.
you can look at 100. You can look at that.
But you know the things that I want to do, that money ain't gonna do nothing for me. I always want to be in a position that I ain't got to raise bread. So if I want to buy a football team, or if I want to buy a building, or whatever I want to do, I don't want to have to ask to do it. So I look at businesses that are going to yield in that way.
Yes.
So again, I'm a television network, because when you sell a successful television network, it ain't 100 million or 50 million. It's 6-7 billion. You know what I mean? But not only the platform, I'm also making content that gives you residual income. So as long as I make good work, regardless of whether I have a platform or not, the stuff that I make will always make money. So, you know, again, I might not want to work this hard, or you might not want to work this hard when you're my age. So you want to do something younger, that when you're sitting by the pool, you get a check for something you did 10 years ago.
Right.
For like a movie you made, but in order to do that, you got to own your IP. You got to own your master.
Right.
That's how you benefit from it later.
Right. Right.
So that's why I just continue to keep making a lot of masters, so I can stay the master.
Right.
But the minute you give someone your master, they become your master. It's in the words.
G shit. You got the you use a master in the music shit. You feel me? Outside of music, what was your most lucrative investment, your most lucrative business outside of the music?
The clothing.
Rocawear.
Yeah. Rocawear. That was a big business.
You brought more in off the clothing than you did off the music.
Yeah, the music just became advertising for the clothing.
Okay.
Because we had to split, like they had a co-venture with Universal, and Ben had to bust the other half down with Jay, Biggs, and myself. And Jay, as an artist, was, he was double dipping. You know what I'm saying? So he was, this nigga was funny to me, man.
Yeah.
But, so I was like, because of the way I seen how much money they spent on the music, where there was never really so much of a margin, and I was always mad. That's why I named Rocawear, not Rocafella clothes. I called it Rocawear clothes, so Def Jam couldn't get none of it.
Okay.
So I just turned Rocafella into the commercial for the clothes.
Okay.
Because it was so much more lucrative.
Okay.
I ain't gonna lie, the music, it wasn't never no real money, man. That's why I stopped doing it. It's just too much work. Like I
heard you say in the interview, we sold 5 million copies. Once I saw the money that came out to 5 million copies, it wasn't enough.
It wasn't nothing.
The average motherfucker, we just went 5 times platinum. We good. But you saying that wasn't enough.
You don't know. It depends on how much you spend. So if you spend $100 million, or let's say you spent 110 and you only make 100, you 10 in the hole.
Yeah.
So it looks like you're living a great life, but you're still struggling. And that's what happens a lot of times. You got to spend a lot of money to make a lot of money. So to go gold, that was costing at least $1 million to go gold.
500,000 copies.
Yeah, to go gold. That's when I would give you $1 million if you went gold. But that was back then. I don't really know what it is now. But it depends on your bills, really. You know what I mean? Like, you can live great for $1 million, but when you make $1 million when you're a teenager, that shit is like, you don't really feel like when you have $1 million, you buy a bag of potato chips, you ain't a millionaire no more.
Damn. Damn. I'm finna pivot a little bit. So Rocafella had a joint venture partnership with Def Jam, right?
Yeah, Universal. Def Jam had been bought at
All
that time.
When did you start realizing? So I think was Lyor Cohen
I always thought he was a piece of shit. Jay was just always impressed with him.
I'm finna get to that. So you had Lyor and you had Kevin Lyles, who was the president of Def Jam at the time, right?
Well, to me, he was more like a spokesperson for Lyor. So when a white man wants black people to do something, they send the black man to go be the face.
Right.
So I just felt like he was Lior's face.
So let me ask you this.
He was the only one willing, I think, to do what, to I'm not even going to discount, but.
Let me ask you this. When most of us get a record deal in the beginning, we feel like it's all good. I finally got my break, blah, 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 this and that. They gave me some money that I couldn't see.
Once that money going, it's a wrap.
I finna get to that.
All you got to do is go to Jacob. That's what they had. All the artists, go to Jacob, that shit was gone.
But the average motherfucker from the street feel like, man, I finally got my break. They gave us this budget that I probably couldn't fund on my own. This is gravy right here. When did you realize?
That's what messes you up.
When did you realize it was a problem at Def Jam? When did you realize that? What was the red flag?
I'm not an artist. You know what I mean? It was a problem for me. Was they was always trying to take the credit for what I did. You know what I mean? And they were just always playing games, like just, getting with Jay behind my back. It was just always, because Def Jam and Rocafella were both sort of street labels. So I'd be like, I don't need y'all to do no street. Like Def Jam, Lyor, like what's Lyor and Kevin Lyles? They not street. So there was nothing they could do for me as it related to the street. You know what I mean? So it was like, y'all could just go over there. Unless you could bring me some pop shit or something that I can't. And I actually went and hired my own publicist, which they poached, this dude Gabe. And I had to go and get us to get and break out of like just being considered urban and into pop culture. I had to go establish and get all of those components. That's why we made movies and did fashion, so I could be relevant in each one of those trades. So if I had a little people from fashion, a little people from movies, a little bit of people from music combined, that always made it to where we was always rolling. We didn't sell a lot of records. We only sold 5 million one time. The rest would be a million, and under that. I just was always doing shit.
Yes. Okay, gotcha.
I just keep it looking hot.
When we talk about this, I'm going to ask you now. We talk about this off camera, but I'm going to ask you this on camera. So, somebody trying to get into the rap game, especially from our culture, from the urban community. If you go to Def Jam, you have to get approved by Lyor Cohen.
But not now. But
back in the day. If you go to Def Jam, you got to get approved by Lyor. You go to Interscope, you got to get approved by Jimmy Iovine. If you go to Koch, you got to get approved by Alan Grunblatt. You follow what I'm saying? So all these will be considered white CEOs who are dipping into our culture. And my question, which I asked you off camera, my question was, before we let these young brothers come into these companies where they got to go to the white CEOs, years ago, you had Master P with No Limit, Suge Knight with Death Row, Irv Gotti with Murder Inc., Dame Dash with Rocafella, Jay Prince with Rap A Lot, Ted Lucas with Slip and Slide, Jermaine Dupri with So Def. All these black CEOs who are making, I guess, hundreds of millions of dollars. So why do we got to go to him? Why don't y'all just start a label on y'all own? Because if we go to Lyor, Jimmy Iovine, or Alan Grunblatt, we might sign a deal and get $500,000 up front, maybe $1 million at the most. This million that they get us up front, y'all got that. So how come we can't go and sign with y'all? Y'all form a, what's the word they use? What's the word when people have a job? A union, yeah. Why don't we form a union and let imagine a union to where Jay Prince is my head of street promotion, Dame Dash my head is my head of radio, Birdman and Slim is my head of marketing promotion, Jay Prince is my head of security. You follow what I'm saying? So well, I'm signed to black CEOs who know where I come from. You follow what I'm saying? As opposed to going to the white dude who just only judge me off of numbers. I might have 500 views on Instagram or YouTube, but my talent is worth $1 million. You understand that. You understand raw talent. Let me put my expertise to it. We can make $1 million off of it. They're going to judge me off of straight up my numbers. And then when I go to them, they're going to sign me to whatever they give me up front and whatever kind of fucked up paperwork they sign me to. So before we let that happen, how come all the black CEOs ever came together and started a union and be like, you know what, y'all can sign to us. Fuck them. And go back in the day when the CDs, okay, we can put our money together and press up a CD plant to where we can press up 1 million CDs in 5 hours and ship y'all out to the mom and pop record stores that we got relationships with already. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why did that never come to fruition? Oh, am I making sense to you?
I mean, logically that would make sense. But, like I was telling you, I tried. So it ain't not one person that you named that could say that I didn't say, yo, let's do something together. So every single person you named, and I could, we could ask them. We were trying to sign the firm, and Steve Stout fucked that one up. And we were trying, or not sign, but partner with,
right,
so we could do it together. We were trying to get with Nas and them. We tried to get with Wu-Tang. We tried to get with, Master P. Every time I talk to him, I said, let's do something together. Every time I talk to Slim. And any person I've ever spoken to at that level, That's always been an offer. I did that in movies as well. You know, if you look at and think about this logically, if each block in a city would work together, we would be able to take over anyone that was trying to be the majority over us if we stuck together. We can't even stick together from block to block, city to city. It's just it's like a human nature. Like, if you look at even past us culturally as black people, we supposed to be fighting for the country, right? If there's a Republican and a Democrat and they hate each other, but you're supposed to be fighting to help the same block. Like, if me and you fighting for the same war, I ain't gonna be mad at you for what you're trying to do. We gonna do it together.
Right.
So this division and even putting people in a black box, a white box, a religious box, separation is always, and division is always meant to create war. So we don't stick together and understand, like, you know, the only way the world is going to stick together is if we got a beef with aliens. Then we'll be Earth instead of being you know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't we share intel?
Yeah. That's deep, yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's a question for every single vertical of life as it relates to us. Why don't we stick together and they got to come to us? Why do we go to them, give them our culture, and then let them sell it back to us? Why we can't? That's the reason why I did my own television network. And I would do it with anyone, even down to the filmmakers. Almost every filmmaker years ago that I told about, like, yo, let's do a streaming service together. But they all went and did it on their own. 4 or 5 years later, and then tell me, I'd be like, I did this. I'm like, that's what I told you, you know, and that we should have all done together. Wow. But for some reason, everybody just wants to do everything on their own. They don't understand collective economics. You know what I mean? So it's not just in one vertical. It's every vertical. In music, fashion, sports. What if everybody black quit playing professional sports because there's no black owners? There would be no sports. We could stick together that way. Why we don't? Why we don't stick together and why we don't all use one? First of all, what they teach us is that we all have to have brands, and that's what we supposed to want. We supposed to own the factories, bro. The brands are just for market share, but none of us talking that talk. And that's the reason why, as it relates to the ads, I'm like, nah, I'm not going to be a content creator and get paid by someone else. I'm going to be the factory. I don't mind working with other cultures. I just want to be the landlord. You know what I'm saying?
Church.
And that's all. I ain't got nothing against no other cultures, but I got to be the landlord. We should be the landlords. We should be able to pass the laws because, you know, we're just been tricked out of our strength. You know, they were like, they'll never remember the Moors. They'll never showcase or give us visuals of us winning. Only visuals we see about our history is us getting our ass kicked. That's not the only history there was for us. You know what I mean? But they want us to see that. When you want to conquer somebody, a culture, you take their religion and you take all their heroes, you take all their artifacts, you erase their memory. So 4 or 5 generations later, they don't even know what they were. We don't know what we was. They were our slaves at one time, but no one talks about that.
That's deep, bro. That's deep. Dame Dash in the building, y'all. That's deep. That's deep.
That's why it's been such a thing to make sure that shit don't happen again.
Right.
Like, we ran the whole world for a second.
Right.
And the Romans erased all that shit because it was hundreds of years. It was a different way. And the control that they implemented back then, it still lasts now. That's how scared they, like, you know, the laws and everything else. That shit wasn't an overnight. They sat for years and planned this whole shit up. Did a good job.
Yeah, you damn right about that.
Yeah, but that shit is up. It's over.
They did.
And now when someone presents you with enlightenment and you choose not to pay attention and you want to look the other way, then you get what you deserve. And you can't expect people to teach you in the tone you want to be taught in. If you acting stupid, then someone's going to have to tell you in a way that wakes your stupid ass up. You know? So people be, I'm not listening to certain things because I don't like the way somebody telling me, yo, that's on you. So if you sitting in front of a train track and a train's coming and you mad because I'm saying, get the fuck off the train, you gonna let yourself get hit because you don't like my tone? You a dumbass. You deserve to get hit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, dog. Yeah. I get
You know
it,
what
bro.
I'm saying? Like
I
certain people will spit in their own food just to like think someone to make someone else mad. It's like stupid. Like I'm gonna fuck my life up just to prove you wrong. That's dumb, and that's emotional, and that's not no man shit.
I love it. Let me ask you this. I was watching. I watched a lot of documentaries and all this type of shit to kind of educate myself on the music industry. I was watching a documentary called "Welcome to Death Row." You know what I'm talking about? The "Welcome to Death Row" documentary.
Yeah, you see that one I heard about though.
Yeah. So a guy on there said this. He said, one of the things about these major labels is they will never understand street music. They will never understand music that starts right there in the neighborhood. They will never get it, never will, never will, never will. And because they don't, that's what opens the door for young black entrepreneurs to come along and make a killing.
But here's the thing. Street niggas don't have to sign with labels. That's a choice.
Expound on that.
Nobody makes nobody sign the deal. People want it. That's what I'm saying. They got, first of all, what man wants to say I'm signed? That shit don't sound no man shit. I'm signed to another nigga. I never say that like I signed that. I don't like the way that even sounds. You know what I mean? So, but we're programmed to think getting robbed is the best way to go. All like when you sign a deal, a traditional deal, especially now, they buy your shit from you and pay you a 10% royalty off your own master. They take your idea and pay you now 10% off of 100% just because they put the money up. That shit is robbery. And people be wanting it. Like, yo, please take my master for some money. Let me ask you a question. Would you sell your freedom for $1 million? Would you go to jail for $1 million?
No.
2 million?
Fuck no.
10 million.
No, I ain't
but
gonna
that's what you're
shit,
doing for an advance when you give somebody your master. You're giving him the freedom of that IP. You're giving that freedom away to somebody else. You're putting something you love in jail for money. You're making it a whore for somebody else, and they now own it and pay you a percentage of it. And then now they're taking a piece of your show, which they didn't before.
360.
And I'm the one that made that happen because, again, meaning I didn't want it to happen, but they did it because of the Rocawear situation. Because I would laugh at Lyor, say, yo, I'm using all this money to promote my clothes in these videos. I don't give a fuck if this shit make no money. I'm going to make mad money over here. And you ain't going to get $1.
And that's where the 360 deals coming from.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
we got to blame you for the 360 deal?
No, y'all got to blame y'all for listening to this dumbass thing. You can present anything. You know what I mean? And no one has to sign a deal.
Right.
And now this dude robs everyone in music, or at least that's how I looked at it. And then he goes over to YouTube and motherfuckers trust him, and y'all don't even ask what your CPM is or how you get paid. So you're going to let the same nigga rob y'all twice in 2 different businesses? So that's like if a dude robbed me or I hit a nigga with some work on some coke and he run off, then I'm going to hit him with some weed. He going to run off. I'm going to hit him with some dust. Every drug I get at, man, he going to run off with it. I'm not hitting that man with no more work after he run off with that first pack. And that man ran off with big packs.
That makes sense when you break it down like that. Let me ask you this, though. I'm finna play devil's advocate. Let me ask you this. So what you just said, they're going to buy your masters and then pay you 10%.
If you're lucky, it could be 8.
If you're lucky. Well, okay, cool.
And then cook the books, put mad debt on you, and you don't even know.
Whatever it is. So whatever it is, however they pay you, 5, 10%, whatever. Let me ask you this, though. I'm this being devil's advocate. I'm a nigga in the street who been hustling my music. I'm selling maybe 200 or 300 copies a week, maybe 500 copies a week.
So you're a boss in the street at that point, right? So why
for the most part.
So you gonna let one of them lames become your boss? You gonna get that away?
I sell 500 copies. I'm gonna sell 1,000 copies a week.
But you still a boss
at $10 a pop.
Yeah,
$10,000. He come to me saying, "I'm finna give you $1 million." I would never, in my mind, I'm saying devil's advocate. In my mind, I would never steal $1 million. You give me how much?
But you gonna say
why
this?
would I not do that?
If I get a hit record, I'm gonna get 100,000 a show. I get that in 10 days. I'm gonna get 50,000. When you get a hit record, that's what I'm trying to tell you. The money comes from your show. So everybody think that money is nothing. Because first of all, when you get 500, half of that goes to the government.
Taxes, yeah.
Period.
Right.
Period.
Right.
And technically it shouldn't because it's a loan. You know, but it does. I don't know how the fuck that shit happens. And once you buy something, what you gonna do with $1 million? What you can buy? What can you buy with $1 million? You can't buy a house, an apartment this big, and then you got to pay overhead bill. You can't buy nothing with $1 million. What can you do to pay bills with $1 million? What can you buy if you live in the city and whatever? Like, you know, $1 million is $88,000 a month. That shit gone. So you got to break your friends off. You got to break your family off. You got to buy a new car. You got to get some jewelry. You got to get some gear. And then you got the expenses that come with it. Because once you buy a house, no one buying it cash. If you got $1 million, you can't even buy $1 million house really with unless you buy it in cash. But then you ain't have no money to furnish it. Jeez. You know what I'm saying? Like you buy a house, you gotta buy furniture, you gotta buy a car. It's a good car, that shit got gas. You gotta get somebody to clean the house. You know what I mean? You got your mother or your father, whoever held you down, God forbid, you got a crew. You gotta, do that kind of, that $1 million is gone. And the problem is once someone hears you have $1 million and you hear it, you really think that shit will never, in that moment, you think you always gonna have that million. And that shit, man, $1 million, when you're not used to $1 million and you get $1 million, you blow that shit. That's the trick. So the bottom line is you want to know how to be sustainable. Again, thinking that the label's going to kill you. If you a dude in the street, then keep thinking like the street. If you used to hustle and you didn't work for nobody in the street, why do that shit with them? Just figure out how to get them. How do I make my show? So I got to go incubate my show. If I'm making 30, 40,000 a show, that $1 million, I don't need that $1 million right now.
What if I'm not making that?
Then you got to get to making it. You have to get your show together, and if you haven't hit the road and put yourself on a promo tour all around the world 2 or 3 times, like you got to look at like Lil Wayne. That kid, he used to live when he was younger, live on a tour bus and put out records every single month. Wiz Khalifa lived on a tour. That's all they did was go up and down. If you're sitting still, if you're on your block, then you're not going to win regardless. You don't want to get signed. If you active and you hit that road, you're going to realize you don't need to be signed. You know what I'm saying? You just got to hit the road. If you're selling CDs, then you should be getting paid to perform. You got to understand the different verticals. You got to like set up your octopus, and then you got to figure out how many different ancillary ways you can make bread. So you can make a couple hundred from the clothes. You can make a couple hundred from the content. You can make a couple of hundred from the show at least. You can make a couple of hundred from the stream. You know what I mean? So the only way a label's going to offer you $1 million right now is if you already popping.
Of course.
If you already popping, what you need it for?
Yeah, right.
They doing is looking at your metrics. What's your social media algorithm, all that shit. They basically already want your shit on cruise control so they can just manipulate the algorithms.
So with that being said, with all that you just said, what finally made you or y'all say, let's partner up with Def Jam?
I didn't want to partner up with Def Jam. That was Jake. We had a distribution deal with Priority. Okay. But they did some slick shit I didn't like. Okay, all right. So it was like, they were only supposed to get 20%, but the Freeze Records had brought us, and they were supposed to get 3, and they were supposed to get 20, so it was supposed to be 23%. And I told them, don't get cute. But they did. They put 20% from Priority, and then he tried to throw 20% on his shit. They were trying to jack us for 40%, and I was like, just for even playing with me, I ain't fucking with y'all. So we had options. We had a deal. We had Interscope. And, with Jimmy Iovine, but yeah. Steve Stout came and fucked that up on purpose. Had a deal with Sony. Steve Stout came and fucked that up on purpose. And Jay just loved this dude. You know what I mean? He loved Lyor. So we ended up with Def Jam. I could have gave a fuck about Def Jam. I didn't give a fuck about Def Jam. I never liked Lyor. I never trusted him. I never liked how people looked up to him. I never understood why people from our culture thought he was gave him a pass. I didn't get it. I never got it. Why y'all let that man talk like that to y'all? in front of us. Like, he just had no respect to me for our culture and was flagrant about it. But to me, he was soft. So I'm like, why y'all letting this clown come in? And, you know, I never understood, but it was a programming thing. You know, it was just because he was around way before doing bullshit. But Russell, I don't like the way he treated Russell.
Right. I get it.
You know, like, look at a man gonna go on our platform, or at least a platform that is majority listened to by us, and try to disrespect and be like, yo, Damon, who's Damon? He don't exist. He gonna try to disrespect one of our icons on one of our radio stations in front of us. That's disrespectful. Cause for me, I'd be like, yo, watch your mouth, bro. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of whether you like him or not, man, that's what he's one of us. You ain't gonna be talking about that man like that in front of us. Somebody else could, that's family, but you not family.
Right.
But nobody checks him.
I get that.
I don't like that shit. So I've always checked him for disrespecting our culture in front of him, to him, and like, yo, watch your mouth. You feel me? I was that guy. Like, yo, you don't talk like that to my culture, with my culture. I never found any of them smarter than me. That's the one thing they say. They all think they smarter than me. I'm like, yo, you're not smarter than me. I'm so smart, I'm gonna play fair where you gotta cheat. That's how smart I am. I don't cheat. See, that's the one thing I don't do. I play in a game full of cheaters, which is why I can't play with cheaters. I'm like, I'm gonna just go ahead and do it myself, because I'm not, it's like I'm not hustling while everybody's snitching. You know what I'm saying? Like, niggas is cheating now. So once people start cheating in the game, I just choose not to play it. But they cheating. So I like, yo, I can't get a fair one. These niggas be having conspiracies and they all get together and all that other type shit. I don't do that. I'm not going and being catty and doing all that other bullshit to, like, you know, if you gonna lose fairly. If I'm gonna lose, let me lose fairly. But y'all doing all of this ganging up and conspiring and lying and all this other bullshit, I don't know how you could even feel good about that victory, because it's not a victory. The game I play is if you get through it fair without compromise, and then you that real man. But pause, if you got to give up some of your nuts or some of your integrity, you ain't win.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. Period. And everyone that plays that game that started with me, they know how I feel. I'm like, y'all cheated. I don't care how much bread you look like you got or got. You cheated. I'm fair. And I gave y'all a 10-year head start. I worked and helped everybody else with their shit, and then you see the last 10 years I've been focusing on mine. I ain't making records. I'm making networks.
Deep.
You ain't be like, yo, I'm making a movie. I'm making a movie for my television network. I'm not making a movie for somebody else. So no one ever understood that hustle.
I get it.
But I had to get the shit out. I had to get it, you know, so America NU Network. It's free. Download it. And you'll see I'm walking it like I talk it. It's right there.
Dope guy.
Like, I ain't talking this shit and don't have nothing to show for it. I'm really betting it all on my dream. So the thing that I advise everyone else to do, I'm doing. I'm saying it because I'm doing it. I'm in the middle of it.
Right. Walking like you're talking.
I bet it all. Like you said, I'll sell a company, fuck all that. Bet it all, put it back in. Pause. Another company that's gonna make me more money. It's a flip. You know, some people flip keys. I like to flip companies. You know what I'm saying? I like to flip like that.
Let me ask you this: when it comes to entertainment game, from back in the days to now, when you observing shit, like back in you older than me, but we still come from the same era, music wise. Back in the day, man, if you got signed to a record deal, you had to know how to rap to be a rapper back in the day. You had to have talent. When did the game go from being about talent to just you can just go viral?
I mean, there wasn't no internet before. You know what I mean?
There you go.
So that's why it was a whole different thing. You know, we living in a different world completely. And these kids are inspired by different things. So, you know, it's not only about your rap now, it's about how creative you are with your videos and your content. You know, it's a lot of different elements. It's almost like there are rap stars still, but then there's celebrities.
Big difference, yeah.
You know what
Big
I mean?
difference.
So like,
big difference, yeah.
You know, there's still those, you know, there's dudes that, like a Kendrick Lamar, that's a lyricist, he could rap.
Right.
And the mother cats from Buffalo and all of them. Griselda. You know, there's still some people that, and J. Cole, he could rap.
Yeah, he dope. Yeah, he dope. Yeah.
But there are people that make money because they get seen and views, and it's not about their rap. It's just they're actors.
Would you sign somebody based on viral numbers who don't have talent?
I have stopped that game 10, 20 years ago, bro. I'm not signing nobody.
That's okay.
I ain't trying to sign. I'm not trying to be running around unless you've done something for me and you've helped me build my dream. I'm not helping you build yours unless you help me build mine. It'd be so funny how people sometimes feel so entitled for me to help them and they never help me a day in their life. It's like some people that will put up a GoFundMe and want people to help them. How many people have you given money to that you could even ask for money?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit bugs me out. These one-way relationships, unconsciously, they're no bueno for me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it ain't the only reason why I would do something for you that and you did is because I'm going to exploit you. I'm going to make money off you. That's not what that doesn't inspire me to do something just for money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It'd be like, yo, I like to do things because people have done things for me. I like loyalty. I like to feel like I don't like to do something for somebody and feel like a sucker later. Only people I deal with that with are my kids. You know what I mean? Like I'll give them gifts on their birthday and sometimes I don't get gifts on mine and I be tight. You know what I'm saying? It'd be like, well, I'm not even giving you nothing. Or if I'm going to give you something and you don't appreciate it, that shit hurts.
Right.
But I'm only dealing with that with my children.
Right.
They're the only ones that I'm dealing. I'll still be tight about it. I'm going to check them. But they're the only ones that can have that kind of entitlement because they came from me. Right. I've taken on that responsibility. But I still don't like one-sided relationships no matter what level it is.
I get it.
You know what I mean?
I get it.
Like, I ain't doing nothing for you if you ain't doing nothing for me, and you shouldn't do nothing for me unless I've done something for you. You know what I mean?
I heard you say in the interview one time.
Hold on a second. Hey, Nicolette, roll up. Sorry. That's why I fuck with you. That's why, I make sure
y'all
her dreams
think
come.
alike, huh?
Well, she knows when I'm dreaming, she makes it happen.
Hey, Nicolette.
So I'm going to make her dreams come true.
Nicolette, are you rolling up the shit that y'all got from down here?
Yeah. Don't tobacco it up. Don't over-font it. She's making cigarettes lately. I don't want no cigarettes.
She puts tobacco in the weed, bro.
Well, it's Fanta.
Yeah. Tobacco in the weed, yeah. I heard you say in an interview one time, you gotta admire your enemy when they outsmart you, but don't let that happen twice. Expound on that.
I mean, I can't be mad at somebody for being smart just because I'm on the wrong end of that. Pause. Like, I actually celebrate. Like, that was a good. If you don't cheat and you strategic, you got to give your enemy a props.
Okay.
If they do, you got like that was a good one. You got to. You can't say it wasn't if they got you. You know, they just made a move on you. You'd be like, all right. If it was a fair move, I'm good with it. But again, now it's time for me to, I got to come back better.
Yes.
I'll be like, you got that one. Even if you fight someone and they catch you, that was good. You ain't gonna be mad if you got to be playing someone in ball and they shake you and you mad about it. That's some bullshit. If somebody nice, you got to give it to them. Just because you was at the pause receiving end of it, you can't say it was whack.
But you also said, but don't let it happen twice.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't happen twice at all.
Right.
You know, it got to be some punishment, some recourse that come with it. That was a good one. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm gonna hit you with 3. You know what I mean? Like you've never had that, or somebody do. Oh, that was a good one, and that make you more inspired to come back, pause a little harder.
Right.
But I ain't gonna be mad if I'm looking at how they laid it down and how much they got our brain fucked up. I'm like, that was a good one. They did good. That shit lasted a good 100 years. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, they did put 100-year spell on us to make us scared, strong people scared of weak people. That was a good spell. Real art. Good one. So now I'm gonna look at the things you did and I'm gonna use that shit on you, but with positive shit, not negative.
Got it.
So if you're gonna put a bunch of bullshit in my face since I've been born, pause. Now I'm gonna put a bunch of good shit in everybody's face since they've been born. I see the trick, so I can use them to that behoove good instead of evil. What happens sometimes when I give people game, the wrong people take the game and use it in a fucked up way. You know what I mean? Like certain people that, it's like how I could see how the devil was made. God gave him game, and then he was like, now I know the game, I could be God. And then you become the devil. When you don't appreciate your teacher. You know, when you don't start, when you want to,
Deep.
you know, that's what happens.
Deep.
And I'll be like, damn, I keep making devils, fallen angels.
Deep.
Start out good. Once I give them the game, they want to go and be me. And it keeps happening. You know what I mean? I'll be like, damn, everybody want to be me to the extent they don't want me around. You know what I mean? Like, you can't pretend you me when I'm in front of you. That was what happened with Jay-Z. The nigga told me, like, yo, I can't pretend I'm a businessman with you around because everyone knows you did the business. Nigga, you a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like, get the fuck. You doing business, we business, but whatever. But my point is, that's what usually happens.
Let me ask you this. I've heard you mention Kevin Hart before. Comedian Kevin Hart. I directed his first movie. What role did you play in Kevin Hart's career?
I took him off the stage and put him in the movie the next week.
Explain that. You was in a random club one day. You saw him, and
it was very intentional. I was making a movie, and it was a funny movie, and I was looking for comedians. So that show, him and Smokey, I think, came from that show. So I was going around. You know, I do my research. So I was looking for the next good talent, somebody that made me laugh. I like that he teased himself because that's his whole shit is making fun of himself.
Right, okay.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, that's funny, and I knew that white people would like it, but you know, his approach. I don't know. He's mad at me, man. So I don't even give a fuck. He's mad because I caught him in some Uggs and I cut him up and put on Instagram, and now he's mad at me. So I don't understand. It's the funny thing about comedians is like when you get them, they be mad. They be like, "But you a comedian." You know what I'm saying? How you gonna be mad because I'm funnier? You a comedian? Like,
so what movie did you put him in?
Paper Soldiers. Come on. I put him in the first two: Paper Soldiers, Death of a Dynasty. I had him playing Puff years ago. He played Puff in Death of a Dynasty. And he was in Paper Soldiers and, you know, I'm sure a couple other things. But yeah, I took him off the stage and put him in the movie. He says it.
Damn. Dope, bro. I just want to hear him say it on camera, bro. Quit looking at me like that. I want to hear him say it on camera. Another thing I heard you say one time, you can't look at and learn experience as a loss. Break that down right there. I get it, but break that down.
If you do something wrong the first time, if you don't learn from it, it's a loss. But usually when you do something the first time, you don't do it right unless you step in shit. You know, that's lotto. Wow. So, you know, it's a learning experience, not a loss. But if you don't come back from it and learn, then it is
straight up loss. It's straight up loss, yeah.
But I don't accept losses. I don't even know what that is. It just means come back. Practice makes perfect. You know, skateboarders, they'll try to make a trick. They'll do it 100 times till they get that trick. It didn't mean they failed. It failed if they quit before they actually get the trick. But if you quit, you failed. But if you don't, you learn. And then you'll be better than someone else that hasn't done it as much as you. Gotcha. So again, when Dame Dash Studios came out, the business model was a completely different model, everything different, but it didn't work. It doesn't work. The paid subscription doesn't work. So you got to know when to, you know, all right, let me do it different. I ain't lose. I just learned. And I learned before everyone else. Like when you can learn something, like if you saw, I remember I was broadcasting with the phone and the shit wasn't working. And I'm like, oh, let me make a call. We were practicing. I'm practicing with the app. The network hasn't launched yet. I'm making sure everything works first. You got to practice. You know, when you make a movie, you got to block the day before. You can't just show up and start shooting a movie and know everything. That's going to take hours in itself. So practice and looking under the hood and taking your time before you get into a business and really understanding the business instead of how it feels, but really how you make money. That's important, and people don't realize that. And a lot of people only want to get in business just based on the money that you make and the fame, not because of the art. So you ask somebody sometime, they'll be like, yo, I want to be in a movie. Nigga, do you watch any movies? Do you love the art of acting, or do you just want to be famous? You know what I mean? And usually that person just wants to be famous. They don't care about the art of acting. When I make records now, I don't just sample. I know no disrespect to anyone that does, but I'm about live instrumentation and shit. Like I deal with the art. I make you got to rehearse and all that. It's an art. When I make clothes, it's an art. Everything I do, I respect the art of it. You understand? Not the money that's made of it, but the process. So if you're doing something just for a man-made dollar, you're not going to enjoy it. But if you do something for God-made love, which is the currency everyone should be hustling to, then you're going to love your life. It don't matter about the money. It matters about the love around you, and the money comes. But when you compromise for money, that money don't make you feel good. I could just tell you, almost everyone I know that was broke, they were unhappy broke. Those motherfuckers are unhappy rich. Probably way worse, way sadder rich. Because once you get rich and famous, you become isolated. You become alone because you can't be outside all day. You can't just walk around unless it's an event. And while you're waiting for events, you're sitting in hotel rooms by yourself without your family. It's a lonely life when you're famous. You know what I'm saying? But people don't know that shit. When you get famous, it means you can't be outside every day. You can cause a pandemonium. There's no more regular living. So you have to create an environment of your own that you can control where you're normal. So the people that I'm around every day, they don't treat me like no goddamn celebrity. I get no respect in my house. You know what I'm saying? It's the place that no one listens. My kids, my girl, they argue with me all fucking day. I'm not even Dame Dash in the house.
That's humbling right there.
I mean, it keeps you regular.
Right. It's humbling. Yeah, it's humbling.
Yeah. So it's having money for the first time is hard. It's not easy to make a bunch of money and you never knew how to make money. Like the thing about the laws in America is whether you know them or not, you still have to abide by them or you're still accountable. So in school, did anybody tell you how to pay taxes up for $1 million or capital gain or how to put something in a trust?
Not at all.
They never teach us how to have money. Because when we get it, it's a trap. They want us to fuck it up and go to jail for not paying for things you didn't know you had to pay for. You know, there's no how to keep money for dummies. If you in a 99% never had no money, your family never had no money, you don't have nobody give you advice on how to keep it, how the fuck you expected to keep some money? It's just like hustling, man. You can't just go out there and hustle and think you ain't going to jail and somebody got to school you.
Right.
You know, I know niggas that never went to jail for hustling. I know niggas that did 20 years for hustling for a week and they make $1. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. You ain't supposed to be outside, bro. Nobody taught you. You don't know the rules. So in every business, you got to know the rules or you'll be wasting your time. You got to know how you get money. You got to know what's illegal and not. You got to know all those things. You can't just think because it feel good and pay and you famous that you could just do it. Everything is an art. You can't just wake up in the morning and say, oh, I think I want to be a professional basketball player today. You got to have skill. You got to practice. So to sit and be like, yo, I want to be a professional rapper, that means you got to really be as good as a professional. And sometimes you got to get the on-the-spot training, but some people don't make it. So if you don't know how to have a good show and you have a hit record and they put you in front of 50,000 people on a summer jam and you bomb, your ass is out. It's just like when you first start hustling, I don't want nobody to give me a whole bird. I'm going to fuck that up.
Right.
I don't want to fuck up a bird. Get a 100 pack. Let me get a pack and I'll see what I can do here. If I lose it, I'll lose it. But I don't want to lose 40, 50,000, 30,000, whatever the prices are right now. I don't know what it is. But whatever it is, I don't want to lose that my first time. If I make a movie, I ain't going to say give me $50 million to make my first movie. I'm going to fuck that up.
Makes sense.
Only way to learn about life is to live it or to take advice of other people that have, but most of us don't listen. We got to learn the hard way. Pause.
Game, bro. Game. Going to the movies. Explain the process. Paid in Full, classic urban street movie. Explain the process you had to go through to the film that to actually get that shit out to the masses. You feel me?
I had to buy the rights to the script from somebody, and then
the right script that you wrote.
No, I didn't write the script.
Okay.
It was the rights. It wasn't the script. It was the rights to. It was AZ's life rights.
Okay.
So you buy that, and then you sell that to it went to Miramax. It was Miramax. I forgot. It was either it's just a company. I forget. Yeah, it was Miramax. No, it wasn't Miramax. It was the brother company that does Scary Movie. I just forgot the name of it. It was the Weinsteins. So they bought it, and then they give you a fee to make it. And that's what happens in a traditional movie or television business. You don't own a fucking thing. And then they tell you what to do because they paying for it. And I had to go through a lot to get that done to the extent I'd be like, yo, man, I'll pay for it myself. But I had to go to war with the Weinsteins over that movie. And then I had to go a little battle in the street over it. You know, that movie is a very draining movie to make. But that experience made it to where I was like, I'd rather do it. So when it came to state property, I did what was called the negative pickup. So, you know, that's when they agree that if you make the movie, they'll give you a certain amount. When it's done, you go to a bank, and based on that piece of paper, you get a bond, and they loan you the money. You know, it's a whole thing. But I did it that way. And then I was just like, fuck it, man. I'd just rather make my own movies and flip. I'll go from little movies and make bigger ones. And I just want to make my movies myself. I'll learn how to direct. And I produce.
So Paying It Forward.
Studio.
Paying It Forward is as classic as it was to us in the street. That was your learning experience to go through before you made state property.
That was the first movie I made.
Yeah. Gotcha. There's another thing I heard you say recently. You can't be a public figure if you care about what the public thinks. Deep statement.
True.
I get that. Break that down right there. You can't be a public figure if you care about what the public thinks.
Yeah, because you have a bunch of people you don't know commenting on you. And that's, you know, if 1 million people love you, 100,000 gonna hate you, or even 10,000, and those are the people that are the loudest. So if that shit bothers you, like if you care what people really say, then you can't be doing anything because you're gonna be hurt all day long. You know, so making a conscious decision to get into a public arena to me is a conscious decision to say, I don't give a fuck what nobody thinks, or so I'm gonna be unhappy worrying about what 1 million different people think at any given time.
Right.
I get that. I mean, like I can't make everybody happy.
I get that.
You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, there's always gonna be a yin and a yang with people that love you and people that hate you because other people love you. You know, somebody girl is getting took and somebody's mad about it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, someone's always on the other end, pause, of someone winning, someone's losing. The person that loses doesn't like you. So when you're a winner, it comes with a lot of hate of the people that you are beating. So you have to be all right with that. Like when you play a sport and someone says, I hate that team because they beat us, you don't care. You want them to hate you because you won. I love that you hate that I won. So that's what you go through. People hating that you won because you just beat them to death. You know what I'm saying? No one likes to be on the losing end. So you're never going to be liked by everyone. You're going to be liked by, you know, because in order to win, that means you took somebody's spot. Pause. And like you said, a lot of people don't respect their enemy or their competition, especially when the competition is a person like, you know, that they're doing something you want to do, but you're too scared to do it. So you hate them for it. But really, you hate yourself. So I can't care about people that care so much about me that they spend the time to talk about me in a bad way because they hate their own life. People that love their life don't like to talk about the things they hate. They talk about the things they love and they stay away from the things they hate. So any time I reference like a Lyor is not normal, it's like to teach everyone else not to trust that man because he's gonna rob you. Or to showcase what he's done to the culture so that he can't do it no more.
Culture vulture.
But other than that, I'm not thinking about him at all. Right. You know what I'm saying? At all, ever. I'm having too much fun to be worried. Like the only time I know about what everybody else is doing is when they start suing me. Well, for real, I'm not even paying attention to what y'all niggas is doing.
Right.
You know, if I hear, I really don't know what was sold or what you did or whatever. I might hear about some things, but other than brunch, I don't really know what's going on. So the only time I know about the people that really are fucking with me is when they're fucking with me. You understand what I'm saying? But other than that, I'm not thinking about them at all. But if I'm trying to do some business and I'm hearing, oh, I can't do no business because this one just said or if you sue me, then I got to see how much money you got. Because I got to sue you to see if it's even worth chasing it. But other than that, I don't give a fuck about nobody but me and the people I love. The problem is I love my culture so much that the people that hurt my culture, I feel the need to get at them. I feel away when if somebody fuck with your cousin, don't you feel like they fucking with you? Yeah, you know that's my cousin. You're disrespecting me.
They are, yeah.
Right. So my culture, y'all know my culture's with me. When you disrespect them, I feel it.
Yeah.
Just watching it I'm not going to let my family get hurt on my watch, not in front of me, and I know about it. Karmically, I got to do something. My culture is what gave me my life. The life I have today came from the support of my culture, so I can't leave them. I can't rob them. They paid for my kids to go to college. How could I do that to the people that have loved me? How could I not love them back? How can I not try to protect them on some level?
It all makes sense, man. It all makes sense. My last question for you, everything we've talked about, especially what you just said, in your mind, man, whether you give a fuck or not, what's the biggest misperception of you?
That I give a fuck.
I mean, you don't give a fuck.
I don't.
All right.
That's the biggest conception is people think I care. And other than that, I don't care what people think. That's what I'm saying. I don't care what the perceptions of me are. Only perception I care about is the conception of my children and my girl and the people I love. Those are only people I care of what they think of me. And when I go down in history, how I go down in history to my family because I left them so well off, that's what I care about. But perceptions, misperceptions, if I'm worried about that, I wouldn't make no moves. You know?
Right.
Like Batman, some people called him a criminal, but some people called him a superhero. I told you, I'm not Batman, I'm Batman. I'm a superhero.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. You know, and they always talking about Batman pocket and what that man is doing, and leave that man alone. Let that man do what that man do on his own. Don't worry about that man. And then Batman ain't got to worry about you.
No, I love that. Dame Dash, bro. Thank you so much, my dog.
Thank you. I'll be back.
Thank you.
A lot to do out here.
Hey, this is another edition of the Pimpoholic TV podcast. Salute to Dame Dash. Oh, before we go, man, give them all your social media information so they can follow you, get at you, whatever it is. Instagram.
Dusko Poppington Instagram and Dusko Poppington TikTok, but America New channel. You know, the revolution will be televised and you can see it and you can work with us or, you know, just watch us. Period. But, you know, either way, we going to do what we do.
So it's your homeboy Maal The Pimp. That was another edition of the Pimpoholic TV podcast. And as I always tell y'all, go to my website, www.maalthepimp.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, @Maal The Pimp, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is called Pimpoholic TV. And we out here. Salute.